Yeah, me mo akwa baba Adkwart Studios. Oko TFM radio so a obeti enka wo baby a. Nyame onhyira wo se wonya mre etie na hwe Adkwart Studio. Senia woni agi Adkwart Studio yenso ye ne je ho pa. Nyame inhyira. Bigiri yesa ho ye se de nyame akwa nso me nso me ho ye no. Building a healthy nation. Kwan be so na yebetumi apagya o my Ghana atiti apansam a nipa no bi nso adweye won se o man no edaso eye da bia ya na me ka se de obedi aso afei kwan ya fa so ye niema na ya dwen enti obi biara owo man wo no ho hia se yebetumi apagya Ghana asi o. It's about leadership, system, and our mindset. So, yetumi nyasa ne man bi ansan ya. And fa honi baby a Ghana edro. Oh, yana o kan. Angrofo bi adwen on say. Ena ye wiase nyina. Ye wiase nyina. The penny for casting be sent ya soon or soon any. Say to me, a few year. A bad boy, and young confan crop for say Yahochri, yes, Russia near Ukraine corn, and my Yahochri. I brought Ukraine for no Casacra Bedia dances, a Wamokrana, yet two to Payan or the Biano, or Musica 7 and 13 Pansami. Yeah. Say any ya ko ya bobo ano hase na ya hwe Burkina Faso a enkane na nka woka Burkina Faso a sa abua we na ntwe honam na ntwe yi wole na na manfo ko sesa ne kotoje na ntwe kotoje na na manfo ko se free hoba na no krampo no omusi ya na ye Ghana fo nwanwa se de omunim Ghana pa na ya to sa ne ma ye gu o se ba bi etugu a Ghana for kwosisa na eno na ya de ye nkwan no ne ade just by the way na say ye ya osra ni fa o mai en ye ka se leadership o leadership enti na enkrofo a omo ye corrupt ni on bi o na so sojani a owo oman no ho adwempa and the wiase nyina di sa branch ho adanse wiase nyina o enti ye ka ahokyira yesremo ya moma yanti so kakra se wiase nyina no sanka yetumi ebo ye bre yi a kanya ne se besia mere yan ya se Chinese for person be fe bibia ye o de ya da waso na tie nsem ho ekoso o kan na obisi me ye sofo me ye wei na je me ntiase o se wo anka na obi nso anka ebekoso saa o na ekoso saa amua na amua me nso hwe ahokyira o eba eka bibia o eka bibia enti mepese me no ma me mre kakra bi na yenko ya boboa no ha ya Burkina Faso na yentie nsem a ekoso na yenhwe se yempanimfu a wo Ghana so adwenkase we bi ewo mutirim sojani o sojani ankani no ne eka se sojafo ni mama mbuo sojani atumi abefo man a atiti apansam na wapagya be wiase nyina ka branch ho asem a na ewo se Ghana yedi ense guiti ne twadwadwo na mpacho fe yakoni enti sojani no nsem a oka.
Human rights worldwide first prepare before arrival, because these people view us as mere pennies. They view us as slaves. It's like that there. Those who have never changed their software in the history of There was a war during the Second World War. People have organized to defend themselves everywhere. There's a nation that couldn't protect itself, who were compelled to take our ancestors to defend them. And today this very country seeks to impart lessons to us. No, you are the descendants of those same ancestors who went to defend others, who freed the world from Nazism. Today, you are striving to silence those same individuals. Terms. Get dirty. We're against it. I will never agree. Continue to defend your land. It's your wealth that these people are interested in. They are interested in our gold, our minerals. Otherwise, why would one seek to take over the notary's office in entire villages? So, we're going to engage in a struggle. We're going to reclaim our territory, our prosperity. It belongs to us. It's intended for us. It's going to bring us benefits. I encourage you to keep this in mind. This war is about escaping from slavery. It's for us. You need to maintain your morale to stay awake. Never give in to the manipulator. People who have lost the concept of homeland, to those individuals who hail from foreign lands, attempting to subdue us through the terminologies they and their organizations have crafted to enslave us, it's crucial that we recall something recent. There's a so-called NGO. It's not even an NGO, because one NGO is a non-governmental organization. However, they cannot be considered non-governmental as they are funded by a federal budget, by a state. These so-called NGOs generate reports asserting that the Federal Defense Services and the Volunteer Defense Patrol commit excesses. The purpose is to undermine your morale, to manipulate you. No, it won't prevent you from being able to fight. Indeed, we are planning to lodge a complaint against this non-governmental organization because people need to comprehend the situation that's unfolding here. Indeed, they have influenced a portion of our Sahel populace. However, they didn't possess this weaponry. Here's what introduced the significant stationary armament. Libya, that destroyed Libya. It's this ONG, this same ONG, that has made its misleading reports and give to whoever wants it. Incite a rebellion so that individuals will intervene and overthrow Gaddafi, and the powder keg is tipped into the Sahel, resulting in millions of lives lost in the Sahel. Here, we must file a complaint against this NGO because it is accountable for these false reports. What it has done to bolster this thesis of attacking They don't have any moral lessons to impart to us. Look at the world. They ought to champion human rights globally before approaching us. We're fortunate to encounter comparable circumstances in this world. You have made a voluntary commitment. Some countries resort to the forced execution of individuals. You go or you perish. Others, attempting to flee, ultimately meet their demise. They do not discuss human rights, as these individuals perceive us merely as insignificant coins. They perceive us as slaves. It's like that there, who has never changed their software. But it's up to us to demonstrate that we are not slaves, and we will never accept that. So, don't be deceived by their narrative. Allow them to narrate it to anyone willing to lend an ear. You must remain concentrated on your struggle. Stay focused. We are unsure of our actions, and even now, the commander of the BTP has informed me that there is a human rights training session for group leaders and their deputies currently in progress. If we exert effort, we understand it's for our own benefit. We don't act simply to appease others. We do it for our homeland, and you're hired to do it. Your homeland? Don't listen to these individuals. Don't let them dampen your spirits.
Abranti with the me won't to manakam to. Wouldn't say, Utian 7 no. Why dream a man who watch it? I dream a man who watch it. Oh, you won't crophobia or hot or man at the one I come so. I want you your mind and coso, and yet GB and all pet. Some all kind, second word. You have a fire in a janum, and Mom come home. Only says second word, no, I'm not ye high you, but on the fire be bring my soldier for no facacy and alcohol. Now, Botaya na ɛwɔ nwa dwen mu ne sɛ after second world war no a yɛnya yɛfa ahodie ɛwɔ anisoɔ no fa ahodie no yɛnya no anisoɔ na wode ba ne yɛ mu a na ɔmo da so ekura yɛ mu na ɔmo pɛ kwan bebree sɛ ɔmo bɛkɔ so ma bibiman ayɛ nkoa na sɛm a ɔka nyinaa no ɛna ɔmo de nsɛm ahyehyɛ etiri mu na ɔkaeɛ kan sɛ NGOs ahodoɔ a atwa Africa ho ahyia a ɔmo adwene wɔn sɛ ɔmo boa yɛn ɔmo ɔbotaeɛ mmerɛ bi meka bi wɔ ha sɛ ebi bae sɛ ɔmo bɛtu nsuo I'm saying I'm free Holland na yɛ ni agye ɔmo de mfidie aba sɛ yɛbɛtu nsuo wɔ ha ɛfa lake kwae so samra na mo fi ase ensi a ɔmo tu yɛ bia no anwea ne baako kora anka baabi ɔmo tu yɛ ɔmo trucks ɔmo tu anwea no a ne de agum sɛ ɔmo aba bɛ study ahu sɛ gold hɔ na the strategy ɔmo betumi ayɛ ne sɛ yɛbɛtu nsuo akyɛ mo baabi ɔmo tu nsuo ne bia no wohwie nsuo no gu bucket mu a na ayɛ na akye that means gold hɔ ɔmo sisi abrɛ o na hifo na mo ɔmo kwan mo ɔmo sisi yɛn mpanimfo yi a yɛn mpanimfo yi a ɔsaka bibi fa Libya hwɛ sɛ ne Gaddafi si pagya Libya wɔn a ɔmo firi Ghana ha se ɛkɔ Libya na ɔmo di adanseɛ sɛ Libya ti sɛ aburokyire wodi mfie edunwɔtwe ɛkɔ na firi Libya hɔ nom a wowie sukuu a ne ama ɔdan ɛna ɔmbɛboa wɔn ankorɔfoɔ sɛ wagye ɔman no abɔ so ɛna Amerikafoɔ bɛboa ma yɛkum papa yi wodi African mpanimfoɔ no bi si hɔ nom a wɔn na ɛyɛ mo yɛkum wɔn na ayerɛwosɛm so sɛ ɔmo yi a ɔmo fa yɛ ne ayɛ nkorɔfoɔ no bi ɛbɛpem na yɛ ne mie wode ewie ɛbɛsa abɔ baako aka ho sɛsɛ wonim papa yi ɔsrani ɔpɛsɛ nkɔ hand over na ɛkɔ civilian na sɛ ɛkɔ kebi mami nkebi hwɛ mmranteɛ na kyia gu kurom sɛ ɔmo mpere na ɔntra so bi kura so ɔntra so mfie du ebi sɛ ɔba mmerɛ kakra yi no ɔmo ahuru sɛ nsesan bebree ɛɛbɔ ɔman no ɛna kebi mami nkebifoɔ no nso ɛmpɛ enti wɔn na fa kyire ɛboa sɛ nka enye ku enti ano wɔn abɔ mɔdea yɛku ɔbaa yi wɔn a yɛku ahodoɔ num ɛso bie ne wɔn ma wɔn adi nkunim ɛdeɛ na Ghana yɛsua firi nea ɛkɔ so wɔ Burkina Faso sɛ sɛ ɔmo ayi no ɔmo yɛ 3 Mali Gambia sɛ no yɛ civilian ayi no hɔ ɛnso hɔ koraa no ɛnsesan bebree ɛkɔ so hɔ enti nneɛma a ɛkɔ so wɔ West Africa na ɛnyɛ kwa enti Ghana ɛwɔ sɛ yɛhwɛ nneɛma bi yie sɛ yɛne ayɛ mfikyire ha sei ɛnora na ɔman no ɛnyɛ ɔman o na nnɛ ewiase nyinaa ɛdi saa Burkina Faso ho adanse a ɔwɔ sɛ nka yɛn mpanimfo a mohwɛ ɔman so ɛtena ase na mohwɛ sɛ ɛdeɛ na ɛkɔ so a ama within a short time nsesan ɛba ɔman no mu mesra yɛhwɛ video ɛtɔ so mmienu no.
As the captain has said, everything they have done has certainly surprised the world, especially the West, and now they are about to surprise the West, especially France, with another move, the creation of a new currency. Captain Traore says the plan is to break all ties that have kept the country in slavery, and we can all agree that the CFA franc, the currency that is currently being used by 14 African countries, including Burkina Faso, is something that has kept these nations in slavery. Created in 1954 as a currency for all its African colonies, France used this currency to maintain significant economic and political influence over Africa because it had control over the currency's convertibility and monetary policy. This means that with the aid of the CFA franc, France could manipulate the money supply, interest rates, and currency valuation across Francophone Africa all the way from Paris. In addition to this, France also controlled the money reserve of Francophone Africa because Francophone Africa was required to at first put 100% of their money reserve in France's bank. Later on, it changed to 70%, and it is currently 50%. So, the situation was that Francophone Africa couldn't print or issue currency, they couldn't control monetary policy without approval from France, and they had to keep half of their money reserves with France. For decades, the use of CFA franc by African countries, which are supposed to be independent, has been heavily criticized, but France has repeatedly defended the currency, saying that it is necessary to promote monetary stability, facilitate economic integration, and enhance overall economic performance. Supporters of the CFA franc also argue that the currency is a useful buffer against inflation because it is pegged to the euro. However, according to Senegalese economist Ndongo Samba Sylla, who is head of research and policy for Africa at International Development Economics Associates, the CFA was created not for the benefit of African states, but for France to protect itself against the rise of the United States dollar. He went on to explain that from a purely practical economic standpoint, the CFA is not a beneficial currency or system for its user states, because the long-term analysis of the GDP of countries using the CFA franc reveals that since their independence, none of these countries have recorded as much development as they should have if the CFA franc was truly for their benefit. The highest income per capita any of these nations had experienced was in the 1970s. Samba further explained that the fact that the CFA franc is pegged to the euro is even detrimental to the economies of Francophone countries because their exports are priced and traded in US dollars. Thereby, they make their products, which are primarily commodity products, uncompetitive in the international market. This system undermines the economic freedom of Francophone Africa because it traps them in a neo-colonial model that favors foreign companies over local companies. In 1962, Mali tried to break free from this economic and financial bondage by creating its own currency 1 year after independence, called the Malian franc. However, a combination of internal divisions and France's fierce determination not to allow any of its former colonies to have complete independence led to the Malian franc being abandoned and Mali being integrated into the CFA zone in 1984. Since then, no other Francophone country has attempted to break away from these economic shackles. However, in 2019, Ivorian President Alassane Ouattara, together with his French counterpart President Macron, released a press statement saying that the CFA as it had existed until then was no more. According to them, the Central Bank of West African states is no longer required to deposit half of its foreign exchange reserves with the French Treasury. The name of the currency, CFA franc, will be changed to the ECO, and France will no longer govern the management of the currency. Well, it's 2024, and the CFA franc has not been changed to ECO, so we can also conclude that France is still governing the management of the currency. In other words, nothing has changed. This is why Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger have decided to pull their resources together and create a common currency for their confederation. In September 2023, these three countries formed a military alliance that would allow
Niaohye butaya edi achire nyina ne se Burkina Faso pese omo atwa omo sika. Hwe ade yayam de. Ade abone ne yayam. Ana yampani info no so no. Enti niema bi koso se ya na munhu. Omo estati twa sika no na manyafe. 1954 ti sikano ache me afi aje so mu twa sikano 70 years ni na ne kasa nyina no de o kan say about 15 countries are almost share France as you know almost sikano na almost de mu fakese na agu ho na almost de kitwe bi sene ebeye a oman no enya hoodin e wo nsikase mu na kire se almost ye jaye enso mo da sukura yensa ti say de osi wo mo abetwa o musika na amanya o de ho abon sisi no mama nka bibi kakra mfa Russia ho se wo hwe Russians na omo ye sonko wo amanya aka ni nyina o omo de omo si ombe ba be ni wa digwa na nya dia ombe hye so enya dia omo di womo ene ya omo ye wo hodmo no ebre wo se fasa kwa ne so enu nti na sese Burkina Faso ekoso ise omo Russia for ene China for ene omo aka bomu a omo tai Burkina for echi enu nti na ku na omo ya na enya djuma no na wohwe nia ekoso yi a mebusa se okwan ya omo fa sese ne yakwan papa the best ne se sania abranti ele good foundation ototo fa pim papa yi ema abofo no a omo wo oman no mu no nye omo adwen so mbese no na video baako emrantie no abodompim ababontin se ma omo no musuo se obesori afra konwa no so na omo hwe ebi 5 years ni de omo sensan krata awie se on transo emfie num ena omo bi perekura se enkomfie du fi se obaye no oye niema bebre a omo hunu bi da onim se omo hia ya omo ye meeting se ye begina timu na otraso mfie num no politicians na nko enti African politicians no de metumi aka se emu fakese no ara empe yenkoso ene eyedie ombe gina bontia kansam de enso adwen wo ntirimu no enye papa na se yebesua bibi afra branch wo ebabu apa Ghana na obi pie na oya branch a osa Ghana manyosem no nyankwala Burkina Faso ene nia wo gina omo pre wo Ghana sisi ai emfie da won tembe 9 years we are 35 and we are 44 adumra ensesan na eba ensesan na eba mo mpo ensesan eba because what trust in our dream abura wo ye mpanifo ni bitirimu a no busa se be ye na ye won ana be ifo na ye odiseni odi anka be transfer ye bi ma o kina wonni ho a waja dimpa bi yesese abrantie se ne wiase nyina si body din oba ni kai dada na otimu ni kai dada na otimu osisika na owo soja mu ye ditua nika mo fa san tua nika erode onwura bibi fo mobo na nke enye mobo sa o ye nye mobo ba akukura o se France fo no niema bubu aka omusim eka munku nanka wo mo anya obi a obeye ku ayi abranti ye free ho because France countries na mo ye ku eba so no wo mo na pekwan bi no mo ye ku ni abeyi na free ho na wo mo ye kebi mami nkebi wonim omo si kebi ma minka bi na omo de ma Africa for no omo nimi ye say yentimi nya kebi ma minka bi because omo nimi ye say ye mu bi no mo ho no mo a wo de bibi ya hye ne nsem bi ketu abi hye ne nsem na na dwen nyina asay anya nipa ni nyina o ye won krofo a omo do man no ebi ni abrantie ya o yi sa suban papa we adi mesraw yan hwe papa we na yensua na beboae edo ase so anya mre atie no ahwe every Adkwart Studio nyame onka ho bye bye.